Hi, this is Mimi.
And this is Lee, and this is Getting Rich After Divorce.
We're two divorced women who decided the best way to get rich was to embrace our entrepreneurial spirits and build our own business.
To us, rich means the money in your bank account, but also the quality of your life, your experiences, and your personal well-being.
You're here to overcome doubt, fear, burnout, and finally get unstuck to build a business you love and makes you rich.
You also want to learn how to do all of this while navigating the challenges divorced women face. If that's you, stick with us. You're in the right place.
Hey, this is Mimi.
And this is Lee, and you are listening to Getting Rich After Divorce. Today, we're going to be talking about branding and your website.
Yeah, so that's kind of the 2 points that we want to talk about. What is brand when you hear that word, and why what your brand is matters? And does your website reflect that brand? Like, how can that happen?
Right. So I just did like a preliminary. I was just kind of cruising through like definitions of brand just to give you an idea. So this is from Investopedia, and it says the term brand refers to a business and marketing concept that helps people identify a particular company, product, or individual. Brands are intangible. I love that description. Brands are intangible, which means you can't actually touch or see them. As such, they help shape people's perceptions of companies or products. So it's a perception, it's a feeling.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
sometimes wouldn't it be great if we could say, oh, I'll go pick up this brand and it'll show up everywhere.
Yeah.
But I think it's that whole idea of it being a perception is all because it's conveying how you want your customers to feel when they interact with you, right?
Yes, and you want the right feeling. You want that feeling to be the right feeling to match what you offer so that, it works for you. The brand has to work for you based on what you're offering. So does it attract the right customer? Does it attract paying customers? Do they get what you do when they come to your website? Do they get a sense of who you are, what you offer, what you do?
Yeah, Lee gave the example earlier. She goes like, yeah, you wouldn't want somebody to say, okay, I run small circuses in rural towns. And then you go to their website and it's, like just a calm beach
Yeah, beach scene.
setting.
Yeah.
It's like,
I don't know.
circus space, So it's like whatever your product offering is, you want somebody to have that feeling when you land. Like that's one way you're conveying, like your website is conveying what your brand is actually in tone with it.
Yeah, is it in the right tone, the right feeling? How do they feel the moment? Because people pick up information so quickly and without even knowing they're doing it. Like, do you want to give them that stat?
Yeah.
That's
I
really
heard
good one.
this a while ago and it blew my mind. That by the time a child is 3 years old, they can identify 100 corporate logos.
That is mind-blowing.
Yeah, so whether you think like, oh, this doesn't matter, oh, whatever this is, it's such a small, people's brains are absorbing it all the time.
Yeah.
So let's just say you're a travel company, right? And so somebody lands on your site. It doesn't have to have a single word on it, and people can understand what you do. If there are people, hiking through the Himalayas and skydiving or spelunking, something like that, like that's telling somebody, hey, we're going for an adventurous person, these are going to be physically active trips, and the flip side, if you have a family, swimming in a pool or out together, it's like, oh, okay, this is a family focused. If you have 2 or 3 women sitting in lounge chairs having cocktails, it's like, okay. So without saying anything, somebody lands on your website and they get the vibe and the feeling of who you are and what it is that you're selling.
Right. And there are a lot of kind of template looks that you get when you go to like Wix or Kajabi or any of, all the different platforms for websites. There are a lot of templated looks that you see repeated all around the internet. You know, you see the typical spa or healer website with the succulents we were talking about. You know, it's like the succulents, the colors are sage green and like a silvery green, and it's just this very
lotus
spa.
flower.
Yeah, the lotus. And so it's been done a lot, first of all. But if you run a spa, it may be your best marketing, right?
Yeah.
To have that. Or if you're an energy healer, maybe that is the right look for you. And how do you help people feel the thing you want them to feel? Like if you're a healer, how do you want them to know you're unique? What is your brand? Yes, you're a healer, or maybe you run a spa, but how do you stand out from the other spas and healers? And how would you express that in your brand?
Yeah, and that could be, that's where that font comes in, could be super important, but just the colors and the images and the words will play a part of it too, but typically you're trying to convey a feeling. So to understand, what colors convey what feelings, if it's going to be energetic, obviously you're going to have like a lot of reds and oranges versus the soothing things, because what you want when somebody lands on your website, one, you want them to understand what you do, but you want them to feel a certain way. So for Lee and I, when we were designing our new website for Her Genius, we wanted you to land on there and feel comfortable, like, oh, these women are approachable, like we wear clothes like we wear all the time. We went to the beach, like, oh, let's have a photo shoot while we're here. We didn't run out and buy frocks or hit run the runway. It's like, so let's get some clothes out of our, what are we going to wear? What suits us and feels comfortable?
What fits? What feels comfortable?
And that's how we want to present, we work with women, so there's pink on there. What are some of the other things that we were thinking about as we put our website together?
We wanted a sense of like an uncluttered, because we as people and in our business, we want you as, somebody who watches and listens to us to feel that it's possible, that it's an uncluttered endeavor, that you can unclutter. So I'm talking about just the feeling you get when you come to the website. We don't talk a lot about clutter, but the feeling is, this could be simpler than I think. This may be more possible than I think. If I'm feeling really stuck and scared, or like I want to give up, maybe this is possible for me. So it's like a sense of possibility. So we wanted people to feel calm, like an uncluttered look. And that's harder than it sounds. It's harder to achieve that uncluttered thing.
For the spaciousness.
Yeah, spaciousness.
We wanted to feel, and it's really interesting. Once you start thinking about this, you will really pay attention when you hit somebody's website. And just when you were talking about, and I've got this image of spaciousness. I went to this website the other day. I forget what I was looking for, and it's like my eyes didn't know where to settle. It was like everything was jarring and bright, and I'm sure that there's a customer base for that, because this was a very successful business. But I knew right away, this is not the place for me. Like I immediately started getting like anxious and stuff. And I have one of the business coaches that I've been working with for years. She prides herself on being step by step by step. That's her teaching method. That's how she lives her life. She's very ordered. I mean, she's a lot of fun and has a great sense of humor, but she has really a structured, traditional, conservative outlook to business and her life. And when you hit her website, that's exactly what you think. It's like, oh, I know exactly who she is. I know what actions she wants me to take on this website. I know what my first step is, and then my next step. It's super clear when you hit your website, the journey that she's taking you on.
Yeah, and what I like about, I know exactly who Mimi's talking about. What I like about what she's done is it's very orderly, which if you ever want Mimi as a customer, you got to show her that. Do not confuse her and give a lot of clutter. But she manages to do this very organized feeling, so you know that she could be somebody who could teach you step by step. She also manages to make it seem a little bit fun and upbeat.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Yeah.
She
like
does both.
Yellow and
Yeah. And that's trickier than you would, because I have a business coach who's her website's very upbeat and very colorful, almost to the point of kind of psychedelic, and I wouldn't say that she accomplishes looking orderly, but she doesn't need to.
No, she has more like everything is saturated.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like to the fullest.
Yeah, everything's like live large, it's meant to be that way. And her emphasis is not on being orderly, because she doesn't need, that's not the point of hiring her. That's not what I need from her as my coach.
Yeah, she's a little electric, like, let's get going.
Yeah, that's what
let's do something.
Right, and that's what I was looking for when I hired her. And she's actually helped us in our business, at different times. And it depends on what you're looking for as the customer, so what's going to appeal to you. So when you're looking at your own website, you try to get into the space of first you want to understand how you want your customer to feel, and why do I want them to feel that way. What will they recognize immediately when they come to my website? And then try to get into their body a little bit, like what it might mean to them.
Yeah, and it's got to reflect how you're going to present your offer, and how, whether you're a coach or you're selling something, how that product is going to benefit them. You don't want to come in with this super high energy website and everything, and you're kind of calm and laid back, because somebody's going to be expecting something different from you, right? So you're going to want it to express what they'll get when they actually do business.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
But I was trying to flip it, but I got a little rambly.
It's
also like, no, I didn't. It's also like, what do you want to be doing in your business? How do you want to act? So I was like, don't put it out there that you're high energy if you can't sustain that. Like if you can't, the whole time you're in business, like all of us can sustain anything for a little while, right? But it wears on you if it doesn't match.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And what it was reminding me, the reason I was like, is you absolutely want to be yourself. And so you've got to figure out what that is. And then to try to look at all the templates out there, and it's fine to work off of them. Like, again, if you're some kind of energy healer, and those are definitely templates. The reason I bring that is there are a lot of templates that look like that. How can you make it even more like you, though? How can you tweak that template so that your brand is more expressive of who you are, and give a feeling, how can you enrich the feeling that your potential customers are going to have when they come to your website?
Yeah, because this was the brand that you're going to sustain across. We're just talking about brand as it relates to your website, but your brand's going to cross, so many other things. So the closer to authenticity for who you are, the better. And it is what the world wants now. I think we've been through periods where everything was like over the top and glam and where you saw everybody was selling by standing next to their jet and with their sports car. And I think that I hope that the world is getting just a little exhausted with that, and there is a turn towards authenticity and real, and not everything being so polished.
Yeah, a lot of people, like very influential people, like leaders in the business world, and kind of understanding where the business world is going, do say that if you want to be successful, the key to success is being extremely authentic. And so you want to be thinking about that, and how do you express it in your brand, in your website, and across. Like Mimi's point is very good. We were just talking about website today, but you do have to keep in mind that you don't want to be disjointed in other areas like your Facebook page or your Instagram feed. They need to be a little bit cohesive, if not a lot cohesive. So you want it to be something you can sustain, and that you understand yourself, what you're doing, and just to go into it with intention, and not just, I think when we first started, I love all the websites. The very first website we made, I absolutely adored the feeling of it. But we had to switch because we needed a different platform and we could recreate it. So we ended up, then we struggled. We were on the struggle bus for a little bit. So,
And that really coincided with us doing the work on who our customer was,
Yes.
what our business was going to look like. And it wasn't until we got a lot of clarity on that,
yeah.
that the business took root. So our brand and websites really reflected, and the number of business cards that we have really reflected, our inability to focus on the right things for a period of time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's going to happen. We don't beat ourselves up about that. There's going to be times when you're going to drift a little bit. So I know we're kind of rambling. So brand, it really is, how you're represented, the feelings that you put out there. So it can encompass everything from colors to language to images to
Font. I did want to circle
fonts.
back to font because the reason Mimi was laughing about font early on is because she is the font queen.
Yeah.
And so we'll pick, we've had we had another business partner with us for a while, and we would pick a font that we were like, well, this one's okay. And he's like, that font says to me like Dracula, or she would have some kind of really specific thing that the font made her think of. And we're like, I guess we need to think about how fonts make people feel. And you do, actually, you do, because some of the fonts are very silly. And if you're not in a silly business and you don't want people to feel silly when they come to your space, you don't want to use a silly font or one that looks like Dracula.
Or one that's so pretty nobody can read it.
Right. Oh yeah.
It's hard to find a script font
That
just
drives
make
me over
Make me insane.
the edge.
I know.
Yeah.
So hopefully, this was a fun conversation. Hopefully you'll go look at a lot of different websites. You'll start to pay attention to them a little bit more. Take a look at yours. Does it portray the feeling that you want people to have when they stop in to check you out?
And as always, down in description or notes, look for links. We have usually some free downloads there so you can see what's available, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Getting Rich After Divorce. We're so happy you were here. We truly value each and every one of you.
Yes, we sure do. And be sure to subscribe to us wherever you're catching us, whether it's on, through a podcast platform or on YouTube. Please subscribe and give us a 5-star rating if you feel you deserve that. And join our community so you get updates and stick with us.